everyone, we are the Extreme Saba student team. I'm Saana, I'm the civil engineering student.
I'm Miró, I'm studying international studies.
I'm Ibrahim, I'm studying aerospace engineering.
I'm Sophie and I study biology.
In the last 3 months we've been working on a project on Saba, a 13 square kilometer island in the Dutch Caribbean. We have been working in quite a unique way because Sophie and Ibrahim have not been on Saba the entire time of the project, so we've been working in a hybrid situation. Saba is a small island with 2,000 residents but 3 different climates. The immense changes in height at all places on the island and the extreme climate containing hurricanes makes living and building on the island hard. At this moment, most of the building material on the island is imported, even though hundreds of years ago, people could live from only local resources. This brings us to our initial research question. What are the possibilities for Saba to use local resources in construction material? Frugal innovation is about overcoming resource constraints and working with the resources available. This is extremely relevant for an island where resources are very limited and hard to get. This is why we have been looking into available resources on the island and doing more with less. We are doing this project in collaboration with Extreme Studio TU Delft, which is an architecture studio that focuses on integral design in extreme environments.
Initially, our research question was focused on the prompt of finding bio-based materials on the island and using them for construction on Saba. But naturally, we started thinking outside the box and looking for alternative options that could also satisfy the needs of construction on the island. Before arriving on the island, we wanted to explore more on how the island utilizes its waste and whether growing bio-based materials such as bamboo would be viable to begin with. As we progressed, however, we found that bamboo is quite invasive, so introducing it would be very detrimental to the ecology of the island. And after meeting with the supervisor at the waste management facility, we found that waste is being recycled very well already and being sent to other countries such as the United States, but the amount produced is not really viable for construction. Afterwards, we explored other invasive species on the island to see whether we could use those for construction, and we found 3 interesting leads, including elephant grass and elephant ear, which grow on the mountains, and sargassum, which is seasonal and has been a rising problem in the Caribbean. This led us to make a multi-criteria analysis, and through that, we found that sargassum would be the most viable option. Throughout recent years, sargassum has been a rising problem in the Caribbean. It's an invasive seaweed that floats around the surface of the water, which comes seasonally through the months of February to mid-October. When it comes, it completely covers beaches and decomposes quickly due to the sun. It's really smelly and is described as being the smell of rotten eggs. And this becomes a deterrent for tourists, so naturally, hotels and restaurants and other areas around the beach, around the coastlines, want to get rid of it. Recently, many projects have started to use sargassum in a more beneficial way. We saw that some people in Mexico had already developed their own recipe for sarga blocks, and those houses were quite hurricane resistant. They withstood multiple hurricanes and tropical storms. And there are also projects which recently took off, such as Sargacredo, which uses sargassum as an aggregate for concrete. And we were very interested in that, so we decided to try an experiment with our own recipe to show how effective Sargacrete actually is.
To test the effect of strength on construction material when sargassum is added, we did an experiment. We first collected some sargassum at Cove Bay and cleaned half of it with fresh water and half of it with seawater. Later, we will test if the cleaning method affects the strength of the concrete by using different testing cylinders. After the cleaning, we let the sargassum dry in the sun. Then we labeled the different batches and crushed the sargassum into a useful substance. We added this crushed sargassum to concrete and made 3 cylinders. 1 without sargassum, 1 with seawater washed sargassum, and 1 with freshwater washed sargassum. These cylinders will be sent to St. Maarten after 21 days to be tested.
The main finding from our research is that sargassum definitely has the potential to be of use in construction, and thus we can turn a problem into an opportunity. Furthermore, we have some designs of possible constructions with sargassum, which might be a way to create a new vernacular architecture on Saba. The classic Saba house has the perfect angle for rain drainage. They are often rectangular and consist of 1 floor. Our dome design has the same cultural trademarks, like the red roof. However, they could be a possible design solution as they are the best for hurricane resistance. But there are still other opportunities in which Sarga blocks can be implemented, such as roadsides, benches, and so on. Lastly, we will soon have the results from our sargassum concrete experiment, which will hopefully give some indications about the way in which sargassum influences the properties of concrete. Our research is merely introductory and only scratches the surface of the possibilities that Saba offers for finding alternative ways of building, but it is a start and helps us to better understand what issues might arise, how we might solve these issues, and what should still be tested.
If our idea were to continue, one of the most important things will be to conduct more experiments with sargassum. For instance, using different amounts of it in the concrete or using it in combination with construction waste. There are still many options that need to be tested and researched to find the best use of sargassum in construction material, and better understanding these options will also help to make better designs using the materials. Furthermore, the collection method should be researched further. Is it better to collect it at sea or on shore? And once you have collected it, how will the sargassum be cleaned? Moreover, to make the process economically viable on the small scales of the Caribbean islands, it might be needed to work together with surrounding islands by sharing knowledge and resources in order to successfully use the sargassum as a building material. Lastly, we encourage to think outside of the box and to carefully consider all the resources that are available before importing new materials.
Frugal innovation for me means doing the most with what you have. So on the island of Saba, for example, we look for what we could find, like the sargassum, and that ended up leading us to a new way of construction, which is the Sarga blocks, and that was really nice because then you start seeing it everywhere. You look at what you have in the Netherlands, for example, for me in Egypt, and that just make me gain a new perspective.
I think frugal innovation can be implemented in even small things. I learned in this project that through the hybrid situation that we had to find small ways to stay in communication with each other. So we had to kind of improvise in little things. So I think in this project I also learned that frugal innovation can already happen in very small ways.
What frugal innovation means to me after this project is working with the resources available. For example, at one point we didn't have gas, so we had to cook our pasta in a kettle, which really was working with what you got, and that's exactly what frugal innovation is about.
Frugal innovation to me means being creative and thinking outside of the box. And this is definitely something that I learned while also living on Saba, because it's a very remote island and resources are limited, so sometimes you have to be creative and just really work with what you got.